Hello everybody, welcome in. It's Laura from Tenacious Taurus Twin Flame Tarot, and this is going to be a message for the Twin Flame Collective. Welcome in everybody. I do apologize for not getting the weekly forecast out on Monday, but let's call it a full moon hangover. The energies have been very, very thick. I wanted to talk about some of the messages that I've been receiving in this energy that I like to call the void. And what's been screaming at me astrologically for coming through with the energies this week is Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto in Capricorn. And there's a lot of father issues coming up, I feel, for the Divine Feminine. And so this week, Pluto will enter into the 29-degree mark in Capricorn. And Capricorn is all about the father energy, right? Institutions, structures. I think of Capricorn energy. It is linked to the Devil card in the tarot for the major arcana. And so we're kind of here to break away from these toxic relationship cycles. And so Pluto in Capricorn's really been standing out for me. And so Pluto is moving from Capricorn into Aquarius on March 8th, I believe. Don't quote me. I believe it's March 8th or maybe March 23rd. But in March, Pluto is entering into Aquarius. And this week, Pluto goes into the 29-degree energy. And so whenever we get to the 29-degree mark with an astrological zodiac sign, that is the completion of that karmic wheel. And so this is where things get a little bit tense. What I kept hearing is those who cannot face the past and take accountability from a place of integrity are likely going to be condemned to repeat these lower cycles. And so not every divine masculine is going to choose to step forward into the higher calling. And so what I do feel is in this 29-degree mark, as we prepare for the shift into Aquarius, this is where we have the opportunity to write a new chapter in our lives, not only in our own lives, but for history, right? And so all of the outer planets, Pluto is the farthest out, and this is all dealing with generational issues, right? And so those that have their Pluto in Capricorn have been going through a major transformation. And what I do find interesting is both my daughters actually have their Pluto in Capricorn. And so we're on the precipice of manifesting these new earth energies and deconstructing everything that doesn't work so we can move into the future. But unless we understand the past fully, unless we integrate this Pluto in Capricorn energy, we're not going to be able to move into the next cycle with these new earth energies. And so Pluto in Aquarius is saying, hey, I'm not here to save you. Nobody's coming to save us from greed and corruption. This is where we learn to master becoming our own authority of divine will and divine guidance. And so we have until now, when Pluto ingresses into Aquarius in March, to make sense of these energies. And so Pluto's been in Capricorn for 15 years. So if I look at the masculine collective as a whole, it's pretty disgusting, right? It's very much distorted, the masculine collective. And so that can go both ways. If we're in our wounded feminine energy, then we're needy, we're clingy, we're chasing, and we're in victim mentality. And when the masculine is in his wounded energy, he's operating out of fear and ego. And so you're really going to want to sit with, for me, if I look back, it's been about 15, 16 years of working with these daddy issues. My parents actually divorced. My mom and my dad got married. My mom was 16. My dad was 21, a long, long time ago. And so they divorced, actually. My mom separated from my father. I was 25. My mom got engaged. I believe I was 27, and she remarried when I was 29. And so all of these father issues have really been coming up. I know if I look back to 2010 to 2012, all of these themes were coming up again. I know there was that first wave of activations on the journey back in 2012. I believe there was a huge second wave of awakenings in 2019, and I feel we're coming on that third wave now. And so we're trying to make sense of all of these transits that have been building upon one another. And many of the divine feminines, a lot of us are here to transmute these heavier collective energies. And so a big part of my journey is transmuting this heaviness. And so the last couple of days, it was very heavy, very dense, lethargic, and then on top of dealing with my oldest daughter's daddy issues on top of it, right? And so I fully intended last weekend to jump on and do a full moon reading, and every time I tried to get into the energies and channel it, I was just pulled away, pulled away, pulled away. And so right now I feel a lot of the feminines are feeling completely detached from the telepathy, from the counterpart, and that's kind of where we need to be, right? A place of non-polarity, a 0 point of non-polarity, where if it happens, great, and if it doesn't, oh well. And that's a very dangerously powerful place to be. Divine feminine is in a place of it is what it is, right? And so all of these transits are building and building and building, preparing us to learn these lessons, right? And so we can smoothly move into the next chapter of our lives, but we have to truly integrate the lessons of Pluto in Capricorn. And so the energies are going to be very intense all the way leading up to this transition. And so Pluto in Capricorn, I think of Capricorn, it is the sign of institutions, big corporations, politics, all of these elite structures within the collective. Capricorn is like this governing system, and it manages all of these moving parts within the world, right? And so we're shifting into Pluto in Aquarius, which is this out-of-the-box thinking. We go from Earth, Capricorn, a cardinal energy of Earth, to Aquarian energy in air. And so nothing is going to be completely canceled out like the drop of the hat. That's not what I'm saying, but I do feel there's going to be some upheaval when it comes to politicians, CEOs, the governments. That's my own personal opinion. And so we all have a Pluto in Capricorn within every single one of us. And so usually how this works, you're going to want to pay attention in your natal chart to where Capricorn falls in your housing side. And so for me, Capricorn's in the 11th house, social groups, friends, family. This is part of my collective mission, I feel, to call out the distortion within the masculine collective. I know a big part of what I'm here to do is to help people heal from these father wounds as well. And so for the last decade and a half, we've all been being asked to develop healthy, constructive Capricorn qualities, right? Capricorn is a workhorse. They never give up, right? They plan ahead. They work, and they take responsibility for their lives. And so wherever Capricorn is falling within your housing is likely where this transformation has been taking place for your own journey. And what I want to say is it's kind of time to grow up and be a full-fledged adult. And that's where I feel the masculines have been very stuck at, right? I feel this major wake-up call. This major wake-up call, a decision when it comes to long-term planning without all of these limitations from these big institutions that have been basically dictating our lives, right? And this is where we have to take these initiatives and make these big changes. And so we're coming out of survival programming, and we're stepping into this long-term planning for humanity, our complex humanitarian mission, right? And humans are complex beings. And so we have to have goals, we have to have plans. And so there's a lot of beauty in the energy. And so we all carry a certain frequency based on our astrological chart, our human design. Speaking of human designs, I'm excited to let you know I'm connecting with a wonderful woman, divine feminine in the United States, and we're doing an exchange tomorrow. She's going to be doing my human design chart reading, and I'll be doing her natal chart. And so I'm really excited to see what comes of this, because I truly believe when we can understand our human design and how complex our internal system is and how it works, then we can become unstuck, right? Because nothing in life is coincidental or luck. Everything is divinely orchestrated. And with Pluto and Capricorn, it's been this energy of what goes around comes around. And whatever happens in your life ultimately is a consequence of any previous actions, whether those are positive or negative actions. And so I feel this is where the masculine is sitting with understanding the consequences of his choices, the consequences of his actions. And I feel he's going through a very unlucky streak right now in his life, okay? And so the result of all of the hard work that the feminines put in with all of these deliberate, conscious actions, I feel, is about to pay off. And so we need to understand we are all interconnected. We can all embody these Capricorn qualities, but in order to do that, we have to kind of take charge of our life and to rip those rose-colored glasses off. And so we can't keep externalizing all of these issues. What really came up was third party, right? And so a lot of these masculines turn to a third party where they were hoping, I feel, to have somebody be like an adult for them to take care of them like a mother in order to reflect that mother wound and that distortion within the mother wound for the masculine. And so a lot of these masculines externally search for validation. And so they're really not embodying the full authoritative energy of Capricorn at a deep personal level. And so a lot of these masculines have been looking for a mommy or an adult role for them, is what I want to say. And then ultimately what happens is these karmic relationships hold power over the masculine because they were looking for a mommy or a daddy. And we're not going to talk about genders because there are many twin flames where there's same-sex couples, whether it's two women, two men, it doesn't really matter. We all have the ability to embody internal masculine or feminine energies, depending on what states of transactional analysis you're at with these states of transcendence. And so with all of these father issues coming up, there's like these three different stages of interaction, right? With the father energy and with the ego, with our child state, our parent state, and then our state as an adult. And so the archetype of Capricorn is the parent energy. And the archetype of the child energy would be the Cancer. And so this is where we get so distorted within these relationships because nobody is here to be in charge of another. First and foremost, we're not here to seek this external energy of being taken care of like a child, the Cancer energy, and we're here to, find the equality between these two energies, the Capricorn Cancer axis. And that's really came through on the weekend. I thought, like, we're in all of this very heavy Leo energy, which is all about the heart. The Aquarian is the head, the Leo is the heart, this battle between the head and the heart. But what I felt the collective was immersed in was the Cancer Capricorn axis. So I'm not sure why that kept coming up. And so, well, I know why, right? Because Aquarius is ruled by both Saturn and Uranus, which is karma. There's a lot of karmic repercussions, right? Because we had that new moon in Aquarius, which I feel was to illuminate where we have outgrown a relationship in a parent-child modeling dynamic. And this is where we're kind of being asked to take ownership of what we've created in our lives. And so the Aquarian energy is say, hey, I want freedom, I want freedom. And so I feel a lot of the masculines are feeling very restricted when it comes to stepping into being a full-fledged adult and looking for somebody to solve all of their daddy issues or mommy issues. And so a lot of this rejection against the feminine is because of all of these unhealthy approaches, right, that the masculine's been playing into, unwilling to transcend and address these mother-father wounds. And so we can't keep looking. I know a lot of the divine feminines, too, were met with a lot of narcissistic relationships. And we all have a little bit of narcissism in us. We all have an ego. We cannot completely shed the ego, but we can bring all of this into our egoic awareness so we're not making a choice from a place of distortion within the mind, right? And so a lot of these masculines have, avoided addressing these issues. And so right now I feel they're dealing with this vilifying karmic energy, and what they choose to run away from the feminine is now backfiring in their face in the energies. And so a lot of initiations, a lot of tension I feel when it comes to the Cancer Capricorn polarity within the astrology right now, even though we're really not dealing with a bunch of main Cancer Capricorn energies. But I feel that's the polarity that we've been striving towards integrating when it comes to these archetypes and our own individual identity, because we can't keep looking for somebody to tell us what to do and somebody to take care of us. That's when we're in this ego state of being a child, right? And we all need guidance, we all need direction, but we can't keep looking for the next best thing, the next best person, the next shiny thing. And so these parent-child relationship dynamics need to be rejected in order for this redirection, because ultimately it's just too much, right? I don't want to have another child in my home, and I've gone through those relationship cycles where I've dated several men that have absolutely nothing. They move in with me, and then I'm forced into a masculine role of being this provider, this father type figure for these masculines who fall into their feminine. And this is where all of this distortion comes from, right? All of these child-parent relationship dynamics from our childhood, where maybe we had an authority figure abuse their authority over us, or a lot of these masculines chose to blindly follow the direction of the karmic energy. And now they're blaming everybody externally from them for what went wrong. And I think what the masculine fears the most is hearing, I told you so. Nobody likes to admit that they're wrong. And so when we're in a parent ego state, that's when we engage in relationships where one person is very mature, the other person is less mature, and then you're acting as a parent taking care of a child. And so this dynamic definitely satisfies control needs and issues, but it doesn't allow a relationship to grow and evolve, right? And so this dynamic needs to stop, and it will only stop when the masculine chooses to step into their own authority, right? And so I feel a lot of the masculines after that full moon come in are sitting there saying, what do I do with my life? Where do I go from here? Look at what I've become. And so it's up to the masculine to decide to follow the cosmic rules. It's up to the masculine to decide what to do with his life next. And so I think the big question for a lot of the feminines is, how do we get there? How do we get to a place of union? How do we solve all of these mother-father issues at the core so we can break free from all of these layers of societal programming, ancestral programming? And so a lot of us experience our first father wound in teenage years between the ages of 14 or 17. And so this is usually when we astrologically go through, at a personal level, our first Saturn opposition within our chart. We go through a Saturn return every 29 to 30 years. And so if you look back to when you were 29, we go through like a major Saturn return. We go through another Saturn return between the ages of 56 and 59, and then again in our late 70s. And so all of these energies are a projection of this archetype that we're here to confront, right? And so we need to confront all of these child-parent archetypes where we've been restricted with limitations, or, I feel a lot of the divine masculines end up being the father figure for their mother, playing the parent role for their mother. And so it could go either or, right? Whether the masculine's playing the parent role for the karmic or vice versa. And so all of these energies really limit what we can do and manifest in our lives if we're not playing by the cosmic rules, the cosmic laws. And so usually in our teen years is when we do have our first experience with an unrequited love interest, right? And so we need to learn too in life, we cannot get everything we want, but we will always get everything that we need on our journey. And so right now there's a lot of projection of frustration coming through. I feel there's a lot of realizations when it comes to a father wound within our psyche. And I do feel there's a part of us on the journey where we no longer want to keep operating out of survival interests. And so what I've really looked at over the last couple days is what's really limited me, what's really prevented me from stepping into realistically achieving union and these goals. And so I feel there's a lot of opportunities popping up everywhere, and where the masculine is sitting with is where he's always kept looking for the next best thing. He met the feminine, and it is this energy of nobody can compare to the divine feminine, but he keeps looking for the next best thing, because I feel there's this deep underlying fear of commitment, right? And so at a personal level, the masculine has got to go through some type of ego death when it comes to these outdated versions of himself and these relationship interests that are no longer serving him. And so the more efficient and the more productive the feminine is with how she conducts her life and her spiritual journey and her mission, is going to play a huge role in the killing of the ego of the masculine. And so we always have had freedom, but we have to choose to embrace personal freedom. And so it's kind of like the energy of like Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. And so we have to embody all of these energies, right? And so there's really no shortcut on the spiritual journey. There really is no spiritual bypassing, because how the housing works is, hey, if you skipped a lesson, you got to go back down that ladder, and you got to learn that lesson. And you got to take responsibility for your life. You got to take responsibility for your actions and your choices. That's when you become a full-fledged adult. I don't care if you're 50 years old, 40 years old. If you are not taking accountability and responsibility for your life and all of the choices that you've made and the consequences that have transpired from them choices, you're not an adult. You're a child in an adult body. And so I feel this is where the masculine's been bound to, in a child-parent dynamic within this inherent karmic cycle. And so when we're adults, we're free. It's like, cut that umbilical cord, right? And so I feel there's a lot of deep self-reflection right now in the collective. There's a lot of shadow work being navigated as we're in this last leg of this Pluto in Capricorn transit to prepare us for Pluto in Aquarius. And so I feel what I want to say is it's safe to be strong. We're kind of all being shown how to embody our most powerful, highest self. And so that truly is the gateway to love. Not fear, not unconscious programming, and certainly not codependencies of any sort. And so we have to release these deeply unconscious patterns, these unconscious karmic templates from our consciousness. And so all of this is being shown to us, I feel, so we can work through it and heal it. And so if you catch yourself falling back into these deeply rooted childhood attachment programs, you're going to have to alchemize this energy in order to rise into your highest timeline. And so when we feel safe to open up to love, that's when we know we're at our strongest self. And so we as twins, we are here to live in our light, to unite in this light, and to not stay in the darkness of fear. Although many of us, I feel, have been pulled back into that very uncomfortable energy. I wasn't quite in fear, but it was just this deep, it was icky, it was yucky. And so a lot of this, I feel, I sat with a lot of how I was raised in my family setting, in my close relationships, and where I too can fall back into these automatic behaviors, right? And so when we can recognize this unconscious programming that runs on autopilot, that dictates to us how we live our daily life, then we can choose to reprogram this and align to the higher twin flame connection. And so we're really being asked to pay attention this week, I feel. We're all being offered an opportunity to powerfully level up this week. And I also feel a lot of surprise communication, especially if you've not heard from your counterpart in quite some time. So the major highlight that I was excited about this week, though, was Mercury and Pluto in a conjunction. So Mercury is all about communication. Both of them are still in Capricorn, and so a conjunction is a positive aspect, and I feel this is activating the higher heightened telepathic connection. It's connecting the unconscious with the conscious so we can get to these deeper issues, our underlying motivations, and what drives our fear versus what drives our desire, and how we can fully express ourselves. And so it's very likely, while this conjunction is taking place, that your counterpart will reach out, even if he seems completely detached, disinterested. I feel this is likely a week where the Divine Masculine will finally admit their true deep feelings for you, Divine Feminine. And so I also feel for the feminine, I know there's a heaviness in the masculine collective. And so for the feminine, how we're going to be feeling this energy this week, we're going to be really picking up on our counterparts' deep emotions, motivations. You might feel this longing for your counterpart, or a sense of confusion, fear, and anxiety. And so all of these feelings are not yours, is what I want to say. So if these feelings wash over you throughout the week, allow yourself to transmute the energies, because you're here to help the runner unawakened twin to harmonize and open up so they can see you clearly. And so I feel a lot of secrets revealed, a lot of exposure, a lot of power and control issues, especially around sex. Primal fears are coming up for many of the masculines, I feel, in the energies when it comes to openly expressing how they feel, because they have kept this in the dark for such a long time. There's fear of them expressing themselves, and this is all due to how much they have repressed. So depending on where you're at on the journey, for me, I'm coming up on the 4-year anniversary of separation on February 14th. And all of these energies have been suppressed for many, many years on my counterparts. And thankfully, I have been able to share my journey with all of you beautiful souls. And so we're also still feeling that Mars, Venus square, and then combine that with Mercury, Pluto's conjunction. And so I know the energy the last several days for me has been blocked, distant, blocked, very much in some shadowy 3D energy, because I feel a lot of the masculines are deep in this energy of feeling themselves, whether they realize it or not. And so there is a deep sense of alchemization and harmonization happening within our emotional body, our chakra system, whether you notice it or not. A lot of the feminines will notice this shift taking place. And so we do need to be careful, because when we tap into these spiritual energies, so often we can fall into the shadows and our ego fears unintentionally. And when we do this, it will cause disruptions in your life on the journey. And shadows can very much pull us down into the depths of the underworld, and can submerge us into some deep, deep, dark energies of suspicion, vengeance, and all of this is fear-based, right? And so obsessions that go deep. So we don't want to go into rabbit holes of obsession and focus on something that's dark and shadow-based, because when we do that, then fear is driving us forward instead of love. So be careful what you watch and engage in this week on social media, because I do feel a lot of new divine inspiration is coming through, but the challenge is going to be to integrate and to use discernment when it comes to these lower shadow-based energies. And so we're being supported, though, I feel, with the Neptune aspects, with the trine with Neptune. So it's showing us higher potentials. Many of us are being guided spiritually from the other side, including your counterpart. So I do feel the energies are very noticeable. And so this is a week where we need to stay aware of our thought processes and master our automatic reactions within our subconscious. And so what I do feel is a lot of support, unexpected support this week for the twins to move forward into our purpose and into our highest path, which includes union with the twin in due time. And so we have to be open, we have to trust, and we got to lean into that higher guidance that's pushing us forward from within. And so we need to be careful, because there is a lot of activations working to help us release these victim modes, these child-like reactions. And so what I want to say too is, we are always fully supported. But if you feel like the divine or somebody else is going to take care of everything for you while you're passive and you're just sitting by being weak, playing small, you're going to trap yourself somewhere. That's a pattern. that needs to be addressed when it comes to disempowerment and passivity. We can't sit by and wait. There's no payoff sitting by and waiting. And so a lot of this is going to be challenging because we need to stay in our power this week. We need to be aware of these negative limiting beliefs that are linked to our generational ancestral patterns. There's them daddy issues in Capricorn. And so we all can change. Everybody has the ability to change, but it does take personal accountability. And we have to shift out of these long-standing familial patterns of pessimism, negativity, survival fears, and we have to clear all of this karma once and for all. And so many of us end up falling back into these patterns, and we wait and we wait and we wait for our knight in shining armor, and nobody is coming to save us, right? So all of these astrological movements this week can bring miraculous changes, but you have to step up. Nobody's coming to save us, right? And so there's twins on the journey, 20, 30 years of separation and nothing ever changes. Decades and nothing ever changes. But you have to choose to make those changes. The twins, when it comes to the twins, the feminine always has to lead the way. So if you're a divine feminine and you are still in a karmic connection and you've been in separation for 20 plus years or longer, nothing will improve until you choose to shift your energy and clear those blocks, because you are the one causing the separation at that point because you're not choosing to leave the past behind. And so this will become a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you're waiting, waiting, waiting. And when we keep waiting, we're sending the universe the signal, well, I'm just going to sit here and wait, so send me some more waiting. So we're being asked to shift the approach. If you've been waiting a long time for union, sit there and ask yourself, if you're in a committed partnership, if you're married and you know that's not your person and your twin's married, the feminine has to make the first move. The feminine has to shift the energy and harmonize her inner world and align her inner polarity in order to attract the masculine in our outer connection. And so all of these energies are nudging us, I feel, this week to harmonize this union, whether it's at the unconscious level or at an awakened level, depending on what aspect of the journey you are at. But we have to move beyond these karmic human patterns. We have to be able to embody the light that we carry so we can bridge heaven and earth and step into true love of these sacred unions. And so the energies are thick. We're going to jump in with some cards. So I do want to show you guys a couple little things. I'm getting ready for the next new moon market at Sati Hall in town here at 530 Victoria Ave. And I've kind of just been, whenever I'm blocked or feeling heavy, I got to create. So I put together these really cool little gift boxes. So we've got dowsing boards where you can ask yes, no questions, rephrase maybe, double-sided, like the yin and the yang. And with each dowsing board does come this gorgeous little pendulum. And so how the dowsing board works is you would set it on the ground and you would ask it a yes or a no question, and it's going to douse around the board until the energies, connect. And it will go back and forth if it's yes, or back and forth on the maybe cycle. And so I put together these cute little spiritual dowsing boards for sale at the next new market, and I've also included a little extra gift bag of some tumbled stones, and I have several sets available. I also have these beautiful magnetized his and hers bracelets, so the yin and the yang bracelets again, and when you hold hands they connect, and how cute is that, with a little memo in them. So these will be for sale, so no matter where we go, no matter what we do, you'll always be there for me, and I'll always be there for you. One for you and one for me. So I will have these available at the market. And this beautiful little gorgeous set of the yin and the yang, his and hers bracelets. Really cute. So just some fun new things. I've got some tumbled stones I'm getting ready for the new moon as well. So just a little tidbit, that will be on the 17th of February between 5 and 10 p.m. So come check it out. Me and Kenzie, my oldest daughter, will be there working a table. All right, let's jump in with some cards. We're going to start off today by using my handmade Twin Flame Oracle deck. And what I want to pull into is the masculine's current situation. What has the masculine put behind him? What is ahead of the masculine? What is ahead of the divine masculine? Ooh, very beautiful. What are the current emotions? Oh, that's way too many. Way too many. So I'm just going to take the 3 that popped up upwardly and the overall current energy of the masculine. This is beautiful. Top of the deck, separation. We are never, ever truly apart. Separation is an illusion. We are always connected through the heart. A lot of us are learning the gender roles. And then the bottom of the deck, divine timing. I know so many people get so sick of divine timing. But that's where I say we need to take accountability, right? We're here to co-create our journey. So divine timing works with us based on our actions, right? And so this is where the masculine is at. We get the fated meeting, current energy, celebrate, you are coming closer. So it's this energy building, building, building. The masculine either knows he needs to come forward or he just feels this imminent meeting where he's going to bump into you. And so what's in the past, what's behind the masculine are these past life karmic relationships. So there could have been a recent burying of the past. So a lot of the current challenges that I feel the masculine are facing are related to these old karmic wounds from past lives that not only we have shared together, but we have shared with the karmic soul contracts that we're here to clear and transcend. And so what's ahead of the masculine is chakra. So I need to clear the energy flow to balance the chakras through meditation. And so stillness is what really does bring the awareness and the answers that we're seeking. And then we get eternal love. So I feel this energy of Heroes, Gamos union. And what's ahead of the masculine in the near future is wanting to connect with you and spend time with you. So this is really beautiful energies coming through today. The current emotions and attachments, we get the attachment and we get the metamorphosis along with astral travel. So what I do feel is there's a lot of meeting in the dream space. I know I have been very active with my astral travel in the higher dimensions in my sleep and dream space, although I've not been able to remember them, but I remember the energy when I wake up. And so right now the masculine is in this deep process of spiritual transformation, cutting all of these karmic cords and attachments in order to start a new cycle of love with the feminine. And overall energy is the learning and study. So I feel the masculines are digging for more information, researching twin flame, trying to understand the journey itself, why he cannot release you. So let's go a little bit further and look at this past life karma that's behind the masculine. Guaranteed success. I love it. So that Aquarian energy. So there's so a lot of the masculines, ooh, we got that fair woman on the bottom of the deck with somebody behaving stupidly. I know for myself, my counterpart went towards a woman 7 years younger than him. A lot of them go for the younger, more juvenile, like parent-child dynamics, right? And so a younger fair woman with blonde, gray, or white hair behaving very stupidly, like a rooster, like a cocky little youngin', right? And so when we're in our 30s and we're younger, we're really not in that Empress energy. Usually to step into an Empress energy, you got to go through a lot of life challenges, and you're a mother and you're older. You're usually 40 or older if you are in an Empress energy. We're not children anymore, right? And so I do feel clearing that past karma with the karmic, whether she's a woman or not. I know for myself, she actually is a short-haired blonde woman, a bigger woman. And I do feel the karmic's been behaving very stupidly. There's been an energy of like injustice there. but overcoming that and stepping into guaranteed success and happiness. And so, yeah, it's like something shone a light down with that Leo full moon for the masculine, and illuminated this fair woman that really has been an enemy working against him, disguised as a friend. And so, waving the white flag, the flag, like, I surrender. And so the masculine, you know, got led down the pathway of temptation, and he certainly lowered his standards within that connection of a childish person behaving stupidly, aggressively. I think of a rooster or a turkey, cock or whatever, somebody very cocky. And I feel there's a lack of emotional stability there. So let's take a look at what is coming through for the masculine in meditation. There we go, the dealings with the man. So this is really nice. Higher perspective. We got money will be coming to you. So this could be a windfall or an inheritance. It's this energy, though, of opening up the Akashic records. And that truly is a fortune in itself. And so the masculine, I feel, very soon in the near future is going to have triumph over all of these troubles and obstacles in the karmic soul contract. And this very well could mean a new job or a new career. I feel like, you know, that needle in the haystack energy. And so, and then we get pleasure with a close friend. So wanting to come and have a close-up encounter with you. Dogs to me represent loyalty. And then we get the dealings with the man. So the masculine, I feel, is also afraid that the feminine is going to move on without him. Maybe with a darker man. But I was going to clarify the metamorphosis here. And so we get January. Look at how cold that is. So if you look at this card very closely, it reminds me of Pinocchio. So Capricorn, Aquarius energy, once again, shifting from the Capricorn to the Aquarius. And there's that liar, liar, pants on fire. And so all of these lies have been insurmountable. And I feel a lot of the masculines are coming to this realization, and it's really triggering them emotionally that they received poor advice from somebody barking up a bunch of rumors about the feminine. And so there's a lot of deep, deep rooted family sorrow when it comes to the past life memories. And I do feel the masculine is well aware. It's going to be a lot of hard work ahead to restore a sense of trust again. And so right now the masculine is going through very extreme strong emotions, going from love to hate, angry with himself over the temptation that he fell victim to. And there's that dragon energy. So I know a lot of the counterparts have the dragon's head and tail in the astrology, the Taurus, Scorpio, dragon's head and tail, and we're in that North Node energy. And so there's a lot of disillusionment. But I feel like this announcement that the feminine is going to be returning to his life. So let's just clarify this fated meeting with the tea leaf deck. Look at that. Beautiful. This is what I'm talking about. The doorway's there. It's not opened yet. He's not walked through the doorway yet. There is an opportunity waiting for the masculine. But he's going to have to get rid of that two-faced friend or that two-faced karmic entity. Could be a Gemini, doesn't have to be. But I think of Gemini, a monster with two heads. And the masculine's going to have to choose to step into this new experience, to walk through the doorway, and to release that very unsuccessful karmic entanglement. So let's look a little bit deeper into the karmic energy that is behind the masculine with the tarot. Look at, ooh, 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So that's just a confirmation that that is over. Could be total financial ruin, but still not being honest or taking accountability. And so there's the ego, right? And so the King of Swords reverse can be very cold. This could also be the masculine lashing out and delivering a harsh message. But I just feel ego, ego, ego. The masculine's put behind him his ego, the lack of acknowledgement of this connection, which very well could have led to the breakdown of a false foundation in order to build new. So I do feel a recent wake-up call, getting unstuck, Pisces energy, going through a period of enlightenment. Let's take a look at the underlying emotions here. Oh, that's a lot of cards. We get the Capricorn energy, the Devil with the High Priestess reversed. Pisces, the Six of Swords reversed. So what I see here is there's been this release of awareness of this karmic attachment, this trauma bond. The masculine's been chained to something, unwilling to move on. And I do feel like because of some addictions, masking through addictions, there's some type of rebalancing going on here. Sixes are the journey to balance and harmony. We've got a couple of sixes, and there's the masculine looking like a fool, feeling like a fool. Sacred clown is what I want to say. Ooh, and then the sevens with the King of Wands. There's that anger, that passionate love and hate, anger for being entrapped in a situation, but there's no more confusion. There's been some type of secrets revealed or about to be revealed. No more confusion. There's that beware of self-delusion, disillusionment again. So let's clarify the overall outcome, which is needing more information. And we get the King of Cups. So Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio with the Four of Cups. And there's that masculine pouting. But I feel there's like a huge release of this unrequited love situation. I also feel with the Ace of Cups reverse and the Empress reverse, the masculine's all up in his feelings. He kind of self-sabotaged this connection. He deceived himself, many people all around him, and sitting in a whole lot of regret over not valuing this precious gift that the divine brought forward to the masculine. And there it is, learning something new, coming in with an offer. Let's work together. Let's heal. Dropping my defenses now, going through a major realignment. The angels are saying it's time to take action for the masculine. Wow. Let's get some energies for the feminine. I can't believe we're at 47 minutes already. Let's see what needs to come through for the feminine, where the feminine is at. Current situation for the feminine, we get the Knight of Swords reversed with the Queen of Pentacles in reversed. And so what's on the bottom of the deck? The Wheel of Fortune. Moving on. I feel a lot of the feminines have reached a level of acceptance, and we're sitting here like, hey, that apology is never going to come. Releasing any idealism or fantasizing of, you know, what could have been. That really was not our wish fulfillment, because we were still operating out of these lower karmic timelines when we had that initial encounter. And so the feminine's moving on, her current situation, moving on. You know, moving on from this lack of self-worth. A lot of the masculines, poof, up and left and ghosted, and we were sitting there at rock bottom. We didn't have any self-worth left. You know, there's been a lack of acknowledgement, of apology, and we knew there was something sneaky going on behind the scenes, but I feel a lot of good fortune coming for the feminine and becoming unstuck. So things are moving forward. I also feel like if you look at this card, all of the... I don't even know what you would call them, but we've got all of these energies around, and they're all reading a book. So, and then we got the snake, and it's almost like this devilly creature. So moving on from the karma as well. And then that kind of feels like the Chariot energy. So forward movement for the feminine. What is behind the feminine? What is behind the divine feminine? The betrayal, putting the past to bed, healing from the betrayal. A lot of the feminines were slandered, gossiped about, made fun of. It was a massive betrayal. We felt stabbed in the back from the one person that was supposed to honor, protect, cherish, and love us, right? And so that is what's behind us. What's ahead of us, we get the Judgment. So that is speaking of a reconciliation, the masculine seeking a reconciliation. Where's our current energy and emotions? And here we are, sitting in a whack load of love, right? Self-love, self-love. Our cup is covered. Ain't nobody getting a piece of that pie or that cup if it is not reciprocal, because we are standing in our power. We are honoring our intuition. A lot of the feminines are very deeply emotional beings. But here's the feminine: grounded, stable, solid, independent. Overall energy for the feminine, we get the Hanged Man, the Page of Wands reversed, the Three of Cups in reversed. And so a new perspective shift of the third party, I feel, and justice is being served. So rights, the wrongs are being righted. And so that full moon come in and brought clarity for the feminine, I feel. And so right now we're being asked to balance our head and our heart. It is like the Mott principles, where in Egyptian times when we crossed over, we had to weigh our heart on a scale, right? And if your heart was not as light as a feather, boom, you got to go learn those lessons again, right? And so releasing bitterness, anger, and resentment. So I feel a perspective shift for the feminine recently. Let's close off the reading, guys, with a message from the Rose Oracle deck. One last message for the twins, please. Right away. So there's that child within energy, and that's just reaffirming those daddy issues, mommy issues. So we have to learn to become our own inner mother, to get back to a place of innocence. And so we get the mother energy, child-mother dynamic. And so I do feel a week of returning to each other. The masculine, I feel, is experiencing humility as part of his humanitarian mission. And then we also get the second bloom. So returning to each other, a second chance. It's never too late to make amends and become an adult and take accountability for yourself, right? And so a rose without thorns. So we kind of got to rip out all of those thorns, divine feminine, that were placed in our back. It's like the walk of shame, the wreath of laurel, right? And so we have a right to embrace joy, peace in our lives. And so I do feel in order to do that, we have to go our own way. We have to become this wild, untamed, beautiful feminine energy and embrace our life force. And so I think a lot is at play in the energies for sure. And our perspective shifts. Our perspective is shifting. The masculine's perspective is shifting. Where did that card go? The Family Sorrow card. I don't know where it's at. Down here somewhere. And so the Weeping Willow, I feel a lot of the masculines are purging a lot of emotions when it comes to remembering their roots, and the soul recognition with the feminine. So some heavy weavings going on this week. And that's kind of what I got, guys. I really hope this helped. I hope this resonated. If you would like to book a personal or a soulmate twin flame reading with me, I do encourage you to check out that description box below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you found this useful. Share the videos, comment on the videos to let me know that you found this useful, so I know that I should keep doing these videos, so I know that people are, you know, receiving the message and it's helping, and I would really much appreciate that, guys. So without anything else being said, I hope you all have a wonderful week ahead. I hope you have a great day. And keep an eye out, because I'm going to start working on another round of zodiac signs over the coming days. And I will see you all again next time. Thank you.